Welcome to Teachings from the Masters with Daryl Shaun Price.
Hi, welcome. I want to talk to you today about something really important. It's the way that humans seem to naturally respond to anything that's happening. This is talked a lot about in psychology, and there's a lot of different nuances to it, but I want to break it into three different things I want to talk about, three different big general responses. So there's the fight, the force, or the flow. And this happens in anything, not just when a fight or flight response is triggered. In fact, fight or flight is just a different way of fighting. We'll talk about that in just a second. The reason I want to talk about that is this, is if you're checking how you feel as you respond, it's pretty easy to know if you're in alignment or not. And all the great masters throughout all the time have taught this in some way or another. Are you giving your power to a circumstance outside of you? Or are you staying at peace? Have you found that inner peace, that nirvana, that sense of redemption? And it can't be taken away. So let's talk about fight really quick. So this is the idea that I have to do something to protect myself, have to defend myself. I have to protect myself from potential pain in some way. So yeah, that might be running away, that might be fighting back, that might be putting up defenses, whatever it is. But the idea is this, your mind is truly the piece of you that is the powerful creator of matter and experiences. It takes energy, it turns those to ideas, it uses those ideas and seeds them in its subconscious to actually create the experiences that reflect who you are in the inside. So in this process of creating, your mind has its focus on the material world because that's where it's creating. That's where the experiences come up. So when something happens that doesn't feel good and we're not living in alignment, your mind goes, okay, I got to fix that. We're going to prevent that. We're going to stop it. No, because it's protecting its creation. Protecting what you have told your mind and programmed your mind to say, this is who we are. And yeah, it could be something as drastic as, oh no, my life is threatened, I have to protect myself, and that's fine. But it could be, oh my gosh, last time I was in a relationship, I was really hurt. Now I'm never going to be in a relationship again. Now I'm going to fight it. Oh, I just met the love of my life. Well, no, I'm not open to that because there's too much pain in love. It's a fight response. You are fighting against what is happening. You are fighting against the natural flow of this experience is what you're having now. And always behind that is an idea of protecting who you think you are from what might hurt that identity in some way. So there's a belief behind every response. The beliefs you've chosen to be are going to be protected in some way. So let's move on to the force. This is where you are going to make something happen no matter what. This is where I'm going to go out and hustle and I'm going to keep pushing until I'm a millionaire so I can do this and this and this and be successful. And yeah, we do have that response. We get really pumped up and decide we're going to do this thing and make it happen. Even though it might feel heavy and like, man, I have to force it to happen, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's not good enough if my family doesn't live in the exact way I want them to, so I'm going to keep pushing until I have that lifestyle instead of accept the experience you're in. Now, I'm going to tell you, those of you listening to this episode, your mind is going to fight you on these concepts because it wants to force, it wants to fight, because it's already created something. And based on the beliefs you have, it's already created everything that matches those beliefs. The beliefs are like the programs that your mind has on how to create reality for you. So if you come around and say, I want to change that, your mind goes, no, we've already got it created. No. Look, this program is in place. If you put in another program, this doesn't match. We got to now create again. That's where flow comes in. When you learn to flow and accept every experience as just an experience, and not attached to it in any way, you are open to miracles happening. This is where you know if you're truly living in alignment. Let me take a situation. Let's play this out. So let's say you're in a situation where, oh no, you don't have enough money to pay bills and you're not sure when the money's coming in. And oh my gosh, I know what your mind is doing right now. You're like, I've been in that situation and it's really scary and I just want to do anything I can to get enough money to pay the bills. So you're gonna either fight or force. Well, we can't pay this bill, so we're going to pay this one just instead. So at least we have electricity and we're going to protect ourselves and we're going to hoard all the little bits of money we have coming in and not spend it on little things here because we can't pay our bills. Or I'm going to go out and I'm going to push and I'm going to go pick up 2 more side hustles and I'm going to go drive DoorDash and Uber and I'm going to push and push and push and push till I get enough money in to pay these bills. And it's not that either of the behaviors are wrong in any way. But if you're fighting, it's always fear-based. If you're forcing, it's always based on an outside perception or an outside approval and often has anxiety associated with it. And that's the key. Fight and force. When you create by fighting or you create by forcing, it is always focused on change the outside circumstance. That's what's important. That outside circumstance is so much more important than me. So what about flow? Well, if you were truly living in alignment, if your spirit, heart, and mind were in sync 100%, this experience would come up. Oh, I don't have money and I can't pay these bills. Okay. I'm going to go back inside and be at peace, even if I never pay these bills. And if I'm at peace, I have 100% faith. But because I am in alignment and following my spirit, I will be led on the easiest path to my happiest life. Which includes, I don't want to have the stress of these bills that I can't pay. So let's see what happens. And this sounds like a hypothetical situation, but I'll tell you, this has happened to me. Didn't have the money to pay bills, didn't know where the money was coming from, and I could have gone out and pushed and hustled and done more side hustles. I could have hid and protect myself and run away from all the bill collectors and just try to protect what little bit I had and run away from it all. But I chose to go internal and I chose to say, I'm at peace, even in this situation. That to the mind and to who I think I am is scary. To the beliefs I currently have, this is hurtful. Let go of the hurt. I got back at peace. When I got into alignment, miracles started happening. All of a sudden, more money came from a source I never expected any money to come from. I had somebody who was a friend of mine call me and say, hey, I want to pay you this amount to just show up and be who you are because it would help me in my organization. And it all worked out. Had I been forcing and running out there and I'm going to go take side gigs and I'm going to push and push and push to get the money, I wouldn't have been where I could to receive the opportunity that was there. There'd been no space for it. Had I been running and hiding and trying to avoid debt collectors and trying to push it off as long as I can and pretend like it didn't exist and protect myself because, I'm scared and just hoard what I had, I would not have been in the space to receive that miracle. And I know, I get it. The things that happen on the outside seem heavy. They seem hard. They seem frustrating. That's your omen. It is heavy and hard and frustrating. You are either fighting or forcing, not flowing. Because when you are flowing, you are at peace. I did nothing to fix that situation. I stayed at peace. I wasn't attached to, if I'm at peace, it's going to fix itself. And that's a trap we fall into a lot, by the way. I see this with a lot of my students, is they'll get to where they're in alignment, they'll get to feeling at peace, they'll get to really being open to following the peace and inspired action. And then they get this idea in their mind of, I want to have this thing happen in this way. And if something happens that doesn't feel like it matches that new program they put in, now they start to fight or force again. Well, how come it didn't happen? I was believing and I was this and I was that. No. It is complete faith. Not, let's test and see. And did you get the result you wanted exactly the way you wanted? And I know this sounds paradoxical, and it really is to the logical mind. When you surrender completely, when you are at peace no matter what, you take the inspired action because it feels like peace. You're not attached to whether the outcome happens or not. It's not what it's about. What you know is that because you are listening to spirit, you're not struggling. Okay, you have an experience that you can easily struggle with if you wanted to fight or force and not flow, but it's just an experience. It's not forever. It will pass. And if it feels heavy, the things that your mind says about, I got to do this, and there's anxiety and there's fear and oh my gosh, and how am I, and what is this? That's an omen. Go be at peace no matter what. Go inside. Get back in alignment. Then ask yourself what feels like peace, and you follow that step. It doesn't matter if it makes logical sense. There's nothing logical in what I did in my situation where I all of a sudden got all the money I needed. In fact, what I did is I went online and played Minecraft with some friends, and it felt good. And it was fun. And look, I'm building and I'm discovering, and I was in an energy where there was peace. Next thing you know, I get a call. Hey, everything's taken care of. You do not know mentally how to create the life you want. You may have some ideas, don't get me wrong. You may have had some training. You may have had somebody's 5-step plan to becoming the millionaire that you've always wanted to be, or whatever it is. And those steps might seem logical, but you don't know if those steps will work for you or not. Your spirit does. Your spirit is a being that is the pure energy of creation. And I mean the pure energy of creation. It is the energy of creation itself. And as such, already knows all of the vibrations, what your happiest life feels like. The way it looks doesn't actually matter to your spirit. Maybe it's a new car, maybe it's a new house, maybe it's moving to a new place, maybe it's having new friends, whatever. But it knows how it feels. And it is guiding you by those vibrations and those feelings. That's why listening to these omens are so important. And everything in your life is an omen, because everything that's happening is a reflection of your level of alignment. So if you're not in alignment, it'll feel like force, or it'll feel like fighting. It'll feel like stress. It'll feel like anxiety. It'll feel like fear. Those feelings tell you, nope, this isn't working. So you take a step back and say, no, I'm going to choose to live in alignment no matter what's happening outside of me. And it really doesn't matter what's happening, does it? It really doesn't matter if something outside of you is scary for a moment, or even happy for a moment, because you're at peace. And here's the kicker. Yes, things happen that you don't like. And our mind wants to say, see, that thing happened that we didn't like. That means this isn't real. It means you're not really creating a happy life. You need to go do something. You need to fix it. Because your mind is defending your current programming, which is your current belief. And that's okay. That's part of its job. It's using these beliefs, these programs to create reality. So what do you do with your mind when it's racing like that? Focus your mind on the feeling. So if you're feeling fear, anxiety, frustration, pressure, oh, that's an omen. I don't want to feel that in my life. And there may be action that you take that helps shift the situation. But if you're taking it from a space of fight or force, you're actually just feeding that fear, that pressure, that anxiety. So give your mind a job to watch the feeling. I'm feeling fear. It feels like this type of sensation in my chest. It feels really sharp. That's okay to allow myself to feel that. I'm going to watch that feeling till it passes. You stopped the cycle of reaction. The trigger from the external that told your mind, oh no, beliefs are threatened. And the heart goes, yeah, that doesn't feel good. You can keep defending that if you want, but nope, it doesn't feel good. Okay, watch it till it passes. Most of the time, and I've seen this with my clients, sometimes they just shoot right up to I'm back at peace. Most of the time it's okay, the pain's gone, I'm just neutral right now. That's okay. In the neutral state, ask yourself what feels like peace right now. Whatever that step is, you take it. And it doesn't have to make sense to the logical mind. You know, in our society, over and over and over again, we are conditioned that our outside is what matters most. Do you look like everyone else? Are you the same size as everyone else? What is your color? What is your gender? Are you successful? How much money do you have? Have you lived the American dream? Have you become as successful as your neighbor? And that perspective is what creates the fight and force situations that are natural for our brain to respond to. So it may take some practice to train your brain to stop reacting to outside circumstances and to realize if I listen to spirit, I don't struggle. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to have situations like, oh no, I can't pay my bills today. But you're not going to feel the pain and the anxiety and the fear and the frustration. And you say, okay, this is the experience we're having. I'm at peace. Oh, I feel inspired to go here and do this thing. Well, look, somehow it ended up paying my bills. And I've told this story before. I'm going to tell you another story that really fits in with this situation. And it was the time when I was struggling the most financially. I had a really, really good paying job. Like I was making almost 6 figures a year, and I had me and my roommates who were building businesses. So I paid for all the bills so they could work on the businesses we were building. And then all of a sudden, I get a message from the owner of the company that says, hey, we can't pay you anymore because we're out of money. It was gone like that. Yeah, fear, panic, it's all going to set in. Oh my gosh, everything that we've all lived on while we were building these other businesses is gone. We had invested so much in the other businesses, we didn't have a nest egg, we didn't have savings, and you can talk about the wisdom of that all you want, but it doesn't matter. I was in a situation where all the money was gone. There was no more coming in. We got to the point where we were almost kicked out of the house we were living in. Luckily, at the last minute, things kind of clicked in place, and that's what I'm going to tell you about. So we were facing an eviction from our landlord. We had begged and borrowed from people to pay electric bill just so we had enough electricity to power our ACs and the computers and had the internet on so we could keep doing some work from home. We were at our wits' end. We saw no way out. There was nothing logically we could figure out. And it was that moment I realized, oh, I haven't been living in alignment. I've been living forcing for so long that it finally blew up. So I took my time. I got back in alignment. I took my time and really focused on I'm at peace no matter what happens. If we're homeless, I'm at peace. If we end up not having enough food today, I'm still at peace. I'm just going to have the experience as it is. And the moment I made that shift, I had one thought come to mind. Go get a Pokeball. We had a few bucks of cash. I could afford to go get a Pokeball. And of course, my mind's like, well, that's selfish. Everyone else is struggling and we can't afford this and blah, blah, blah. And you're just going to go get a Pokeball? And my mind wanted to defend the belief of how desperate our situation is and you got to force your way out of it before you can do anything else. And I said, nope, it feels like peace to go get a Pokeball. I'm going to do it. And I did. I sat down next to a gentleman who, through circumstances that existed at that Poke place, and in fact, I'll tell you, this is very interesting. I went and got an iced tea from the dispenser, took one sip, and oh my God, I could taste how moldy and bad it was. The guy sitting next to me had a half tea, half lemonade, and I thought, there's no way he's going to know that tea's gone bad. So I turned to him and said, hey, you may not want to drink that. The tea has gone sour. It tastes moldy. He goes, oh, thanks. Which broke the ice. We started having a conversation. And it ended up, he was looking for someone with my exact skill set and experience with big events. He was the gentleman who runs and owns the local Comic-Con, and he needed somebody to run the celebrity floor that I'd experienced doing that. And I've had a lot of experience with events like this. He goes, can you help me? I will pay you this amount, the exact amount we needed to back up on our feet. No, there's no way logically I could have planned out, if I just go get a Pokeball, we'll solve all our financial problems. Force doesn't work. Trying to run away from the problem and say, forget it, I'm not doing anything, I'm leaving, I'm abandoning everybody. Sure, it might clean the slate, it might feel relief for a moment, but now I'm building from nothing. Go get a Pokeball and all your financial problems will be okay. There's no logical reason behind that. There's no way that makes sense. The reason why it worked is because I was living in alignment. I decided I was at peace no matter what happened. It wasn't about the outcome. I'm at peace so that we can solve this problem. No, I'm at peace. Period. I choose to live in alignment, and I choose to live at peace no matter what happens. In that moment of peace, I was given an inspired action. Go get a Pokeball. Okay, I'm not going to question that. Feels like the right thing to do. And of course, as I was going, my mind is like, well, maybe it's just because you needed this break and this relief, and it was just what you need right now. Maybe this, and you know what? It's going to taste good. And actually, it didn't taste good. They were really, really downhill on quality. They hadn't had shipments come in. We had the bad tea, so it wasn't a great culinary experience. My mind was trying to come up with all the justifications of why this makes sense in its current beliefs. But none of that matters. This is why we don't make decisions from what we figure out. Our only decisions are made when an idea feels like peace. We listen to our heart and follow that. And that's what this was about. It wasn't about solving the financial problems. It was about reminding myself, all I do is follow the peace. I live in alignment. I follow the peace. Everything works out for my happiest life always. And that fell into place, and we had that opportunity exactly the amount of time we needed it. And then moved on to the next thing. There truly is nothing greater than the power of you. When you choose to live in alignment, it will always feel like flow. This feels right. I'm doing it. I don't know why. I don't need to. So if you're experiencing something right now and it feels like force and it's heavy and it's pushing, or it feels like fear and anxiety and I need to just escape and get away, I can't stand it anymore. Those are omens that you're responding and reacting, not living in alignment. The moment you are at peace, no matter what happens outside of you, good or bad, is the moment you are open to miracles leading you to your happiest life in the easiest way possible. Thank you so much for being here. If you want some extra guidance on living in alignment, manifesting miracles so your life, your happiest life is naturally created, go to DarylShaunPrice.com and go look at the Power of You 2-week transformation. It's very easy daily practices to help you live in alignment, manifest miracles in your life. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, and sharing this with somebody who it would help. I'll see you next time.